Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. Have you ever thought, I need help, but managing people is the last thing that I want to do? Or maybe no one is going to do it as good as me. There's no one out there that wants to work. Or some other belief that you may be holding about team simply not working out for you. Now, here's the thing. If you are looking for lifestyle freedom, time freedom, and arguably even financial freedom, you need a team. And that's exactly what I'm talking about with my guest today, Desarae, who's the owner of Beautiful You Skincare Studio. She also has Beautiful You Academy. If you were at the Beauty Business Summit that Maxine Drake puts on, this was back in 2019, pre-pandemic, Desarae was the winner of the 10K grant. So shout out to Maxine for a lovely event. That is where I first met Desarae. And when she and I hopped on a Zoom call to hash out the topic that would be most valuable to you, it was pretty clear that building a team was the winner. So both she and I are firm believers that stepping into a leadership role for our teams is a massive contributor to our successes. So I love this interview. I love the insights that she shares in, her wins and learns with her own team. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. All right, let me do just a quick read of Desarae's bio, and then we'll jump right in. So Desarae is a passionate esthetician entrepreneur with 15 years of specialized skincare experience. Her work experience includes owning and operating a full-service aesthetic studio, an esthetician school, employee training and development, professional sales, marketing, and business management. So she is right in there in the trenches, so to say. So it's a really wonderful interview. Without further ado, let's go ahead and play it. All right, Desarae, I'm so excited to have you on the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. We are going to talk all about team today. And that is a conversation. I know you said before, this is just kind of the season of life that I'm in right now, growing my business, growing my team. And for me, we're kind of in that space as well. And so it seems so natural to have this conversation. And I know so many spa owners that are out there right now where it's such an interesting time with COVID and all of these things where spas, you can't hire fast enough. There's such a demand for services. Anytime I'm trying to call and get booked in, it's they're weeks in advance. It's you can't get in for 5 weeks, which is okay, missed opportunity.
Absolutely.
Expand your team.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit, or fill our listeners in on kind of your journey, your background. I know I did a brief intro, but how did you get to where you're at today?
Yeah. So, as an esthetician, I think your initial goal is to fill your books, right? That was my whole goal coming out of school. I've been an esthetician for 15 years. So I've kind of seen the industry, evolve.
For sure. When did you graduate? 2006?
2005.
2005. Yeah. Okay. So I was 2006.
Yep. So lots changed since then. And I was blessed to get into a hair salon that was really busy right out of school. And I kind of built my career through a brow wax clientele. Mm-hmm. And that really served me in that time. I decided, I love brows, but skincare is really missing in my hometown. And that was the niche that just wasn't being served. That was the area that just a lot of people didn't really pay attention to at that time. We had the spa facial clients, the clients that had massage and, the gift cards and the gift certificates. So that was kind of my goal, was to create a space where I could serve in educating my clients on skincare. So mm-hmm. That's where Beautiful You Skincare Studio was born. And I opened a small 300 square foot space by myself in one treatment room. I had a little waiting area, and that really just served me for a really long time. I was booked back to back. You know how it is. You just turning people away and can't get back to people fast enough. And I found myself in this place of wearing all the hats, right? Trying to juggle all the things. And that became overwhelming really fast, especially when you are a mother trying to juggle life, work, and family. And I thought, okay, I'm at a crossroads here. What do I do? Do I just stop taking new clients, or do I expand? And that word was really scary back then because, like I said, the only thing I wanted was full books. I wanted to be booked out for a year, and I was. But that felt like a disservice. And I think that's where the idea of team came about. And that really goes back to about 12 years ago. I did end up hiring my first employee in 2010, and it was a receptionist. And boy, let me tell you, that was game changer. Just that one person kind of part-time, really helping to assist some of the day-to-day things that I was, kind of falling by the wayside. And so, yeah, I would say that the growth came through a painful year of overwhelm, being overworked, being spread thin.
Let me ask you, why did you want to be booked out for 1 year?
I think that was the goal back then. That was like the idea of success to me, was that if my time was in demand, then I've achieved some sort of success at that time. And that was kind of the idea that maybe I was sold in school, was you've made it when you are booked out, right? You've made it when you have repeat clients through the months on your books.
Do you feel that is a definition of success today?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And when did that change for you?
I would say it changed about 5 years ago, when I found myself in the cycle of still booked out, clients demanding my time, and really having a hard time saying no. I really struggled through my aesthetics career with balance and time management, and really being able to create boundaries around what felt good and what didn't, right? And so I knew that my production was significant in keeping the doors open, because I think we start with that mindset, right? As a sole provider and owner, we're like, okay, I got to bring some money to the table to keep this little engine moving forward. But life happens and things happen, and sometimes setbacks happen. And I think the recurring theme for me in my business was always, yes, I'm going to scale back. Yep, I finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can lessen my workload. And then I would lose an employee. And that was the biggest challenge. It was like a reoccurring thing I would attract in my business for years, Danielle, years. And
do you think that has to do with leadership or communication expectations? What was it, do you think, that you were struggling with then that you have identified? Because I love that you say, I was attracting. I believe that we are 100% responsible for our lives. Absolutely. Right? And so whatever, like, everything is a win or a learn. Absolutely. But when you keep attracting something, particularly in your life, it's because of an action that you are attracting. Either your employee's leaving because you're not communicating.
Yeah, it was definitely an attraction for me. It was something that I was, fears, I think, hold you back. Fear of losing clients, fear of losing revenue, fear of whatever it comes up for you. You definitely operate from a different mindset and space that keeps attracting this same experience, huh? And so for me, every time I made the decision to scale back, I would lose somebody. And that was the challenge. And I do believe that it was because I was in work mode. I was in a treatment room and I was not managing my business.
There was nobody driving the ship.
Right.
Okay. So you've gone through this process. You realize that you have kind of this pattern of every time you try and scale back, you're losing somebody. So I want to know, how many people do you have on your team now? And what was that process? What work did you do in yourself to develop your leadership, to develop, right? Because that's a skill set that it's something that you develop. We are not born as leaders.
Right.
If we, like a lot of people have really incredible parents that try and develop and shape that, but most of us, you have to really learn that skill. You have to learn leadership. It's very different than hustling, right? Of like,
absolutely.
So tell me about that journey for you.
That journey did not come easy or natural for me. It was definitely, there were some moments of pain. And I think pain moves you into a different place.
Mm-hmm.
And so these painful experiences of losing full, books of estheticians that would just become my competition really created this moment in my life where I was either going to contract and suffer, right? Suffer as just, okay, just going through the motions, just going to keep going. Or you can shift into expansion and change and really make a choice to not relive that same experience. And for me, it was a healing journey. If I'm being perfectly honest, it came with some moments of just looking back on where did I experience this same feeling in my life as a child or maybe a teenager? And what is bringing up that same emotion for me that is, I'm reliving that same emotion, in that moment today. So I did some soul searching, if that's what I call it, just really digging in and finding the place in myself that says, hey, you know what? We need to work on this. We can definitely work on this. And this is an area that I know needs some redeveloping and restructuring.
Isn't it interesting how much being an entrepreneur is real? Like the bigger you get, the more you realize it's about mindset.
It is. I think the entrepreneur journey is a healing journey and personal growth.
It's personal growth, 100%, 100%. And when you grow internally,
yes.
You're changing your internal environment, which changes your external environment.
100%. And for me, it was through personal, coaching. As far as business coaching, I have a spiritual coach. I have an emotional coach. I have a lot of people surrounded in my life that hold me accountable for areas of my life where I might get stuck, right? Because we all get stuck. We can go through the processes, we can go through the healing, but life happens and we can still get stuck in areas that we thought, I got this, I did the work, but something may come up and you just have to go back and you have to really realign with what are your true goals and what is motivating you? What is your why? Because if you don't know why you're in business, if you don't know who you're serving, and if you don't know why you're doing it, you will always stumble upon setbacks, I think. Mm-hmm. And that was the reoccurring theme, was a setback. It was like growth, 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 setback, growth, 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 setback. Mm-hmm. And I used to believe that this was the industry. I had a mindset of, well, it's the industry. It can't be any better. It can't get any better. This is just how estheticians are, right?
When instead there's some incredible women out there, and men too. I love you guys also, the guys in the industry, but.
So my whole soul purpose really shifted about 4 or 5 years ago when I said, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more fulfillment. There's got to be more expansion. There's got to be more inspiration to this business, to this beauty business. And so that's when I went on my journey of personal growth and development. And it's been a fantastic and really eye-opening experience to, just work on the areas that you didn't know you needed work on. And through that process, I was able to create and open an aesthetics academy. And that was something that I didn't come out of aesthetic school wanting to do, right? But it just evolved through time, through seeing a need, through seeing a niche and a need and a demand for high quality education. And it really helped me to create this environment of female empowerment and female lifting women up, and just being able to create a culture of love and acceptance and really support. And that is what I've created in the academy. And it just can't help but spill over into my studio, you know?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's a really cool thing. Yeah.
So, okay, tell me again, how many people do you have on your team now?
So we have 7.
Okay. And with those 7, what do you feel like what has been your biggest win and what has been your biggest learn with developing this team? I don't like to say loss or failure. I think it's a learn, but as you're going through, because I know a lot of people are,
definitely touch points and monthly meetings and weekly touch points and check-ins. Before, I didn't connect with my staff. I didn't have regular meetings. There was no consistency in my business because I was working in a treatment room, and my sole focus was client retention, right? Once I scaled back and out of my treatment room and gave up the clientele and really put all of my energy into my team, it's been a game changer. They look forward to our meetings. They look forward to our team bonding little events that we do outside of work. And I think that, I heard it, that it's not that I didn't hear team meetings and team culture and building your staff up is important. I knew that all along. It just wasn't a priority to me, and it wasn't something that I made important. And so that's been a transformation in the business, because we check in with each other every week. And then we have these really beautiful monthly meetings where we get to share our wins and losses, and they give feedback. And I take that very seriously on how they're feeling, where they're at.
I think you said 2 things that are really powerful that I just want to reiterate. And number one is that you knew everything that you were supposed to do.
Absolutely.
You just didn't do it. It wasn't a priority. And so many spa owners, they'll be in our programs, we'll be teaching them, and they're like, I know this. And it's like, well, why aren't you doing it? Right. And so really what the coach does is guide you and hold you accountable and help you grow and push you to be the best. Because if you already knew the information, then why didn't you do it on yourself?
Implement it.
Right.
And so it's really about accountability. And sometimes we can't hold ourselves accountable because we're so busy, or our brains are overwhelmed with the information, that time slips away very quickly. And by the time you know it, it's been 4 months and you haven't had a meeting, right?
Yep.
So,
and then the second piece is the consistency in the meetings. I think that what I see so often with estheticians who start out solo and then expand their team, they expect that the people that they hire are going to have that same level of drive, that same level of hustle, that same level. And hustling is completely different than leading. And
100% different.
Yeah. And so if you're bringing on someone to fill a patch, they're going to have no idea what to do. You have to be so crystal clear in your expectations, right? Because I mean, I don't like that skin a cat analogy. That's gross, but there's it's like, there's more than one way you can take a bus, you can take a train, you can take a plane, right? You can get to the same destination, but there's different ways.
Yeah.
For you as the business leader and the CEO, you have to guide your team on what is the core belief, what is the core value of this company, right? And how are we going to all align as a team? But you've got to give your team the accountability. You've got to be there so that they know what the expectations are, because if they don't know that, they're going to feel like they're not doing a good job. There's and that's why people leave, if they don't feel seen, valued, or heard, right?
You're absolutely right. And that was the missing piece for us. It was truly about showing up in a consistent leadership way to value the employees and take their feedback and where they want to grow and where they maybe where they feel like they're thriving, and really just help them to feel valued.
Mm-hmm.
Also share the company vision and culture, and the expectations are always going to be at the forefront with every meeting. Here's where we're at, here's where we've come, here's what we expect from you this month, and how are we going to work together to accomplish this. And so I remember team meetings before this stuff that I have, and I had anxiety and panic and really negative feelings around it. And I think that everyone else did too. They were just something that I dreaded, to be honest. And so my subconscious was pushing those meetings away, and we'd go maybe every 4 months and have a meeting. And so that was the big awakening, was, okay, they want to see me, they want to hear me, they want to know that I'm involved in this business and that I'm invested in their growth.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that looks like, if they are here for a season, that's fine. If they're here for the long term, I want to support and empower that. And that's also where my mind shift happened, was changing from competition to collaboration and
Mm-hmm.
connection. And so sometimes as owners, we don't want to admit that we feel in competition with our staff and our employees.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take away the energy of competition and you really create collaboration and helpfulness and teamwork, the whole culture shifts. Absolutely.
So shifting gears a little bit, I'm a systems gal. I love systems. I'm curious if you are a systems person, and if so, do you have systems around your hiring process? Like, what is your hiring process like?
Yeah. So we didn't used to have systems, but I learned systems from Maxine, our friend. So that's been a fantastic resource for me. We have a hiring packet and a hiring process. So
very good.
We definitely go through a 3-step interview process where first it's a phone interview.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do the interviews until the 3rd final interview. I have my spa manager who goes through this process now. So he will connect, if it's a great candidate, connect through a phone call and just get a feel for their skill set, their energy, right? Their communication skills. And then we move them on to a Zoom interview, which we got used to that through COVID. So we definitely want to check off some boxes, right? Definitely want to make sure that they align with our vision, our mission, our values, our core beliefs in why we're doing what we're doing. And it's bigger than just doing skincare. And so if and when that candidate feels like they are a good fit, then I also get a chance to meet with them. But a really cool thing that we've been doing is being able to bring in our team. We bring in one team member of our esthetician staff to sit in on that second interview with the manager, and really get a feel for if they believe that they would fit well with our culture. They get an input in who we hire.
I love that. And for employees going through, do you guys have a process or anything around performance improvement plans or like team development? How are you working on team development to help them grow? Because I know there's a lot of like, okay, I need to develop my team. What does that mean?
Yeah. So that's a new kind of concept for me, because I've only been developing this really beautiful team for about the last 1.5 years.
Okay. So it's still new.
Still new to kind of create this idea of target, goals and long-term vision for their careers. But we definitely have monthly check-ins, and we do evaluations every 6 months with our team.
Oh, wonderful.
So
wonderful.
It's in motion, it's in the works, and it's in development. And I don't really know what I want that to look like. I definitely want my staff to know that there's growth and potential, and that there's benefits with working here, because that's something that I feel is lacking in the industry. Retirement, healthcare,
yes,
pay, and those are the things we are working on in this moment today. So.
And I love that. And I love that you are comfortable and able to say we're figuring it out.
Absolutely.
A lot of spa owners, I'll say, okay, what's your 90-day goal? I want all my SOPs completed. And I'm like, okay, first of all, SOPs are never complete, right?
Right.
They are living documents as we grow. Yeah, they're constantly changing. So you have to get comfortable knowing that that's never done. And your hiring process, your team development process, your performance improvement plan process, like all of these things, they're never totally done. And so to just be comfortable knowing that like, hey, I'm going to dedicate X amount of time to focus on this and make it better every week. Right. But just know that it's just this ongoing thing that gets built in, and you will have some learns for sure in that process. But it's kind of like I don't know if you ever read the book, The Compound Effect.
I have not read it.
It's good. It's good. But if you do just a little bit every day, you're going to notice. Yeah.
Big improvements. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that, I'm finally in the space of, where I can really have the time, because I think that's where a lot of owners struggle, right? Is time.
Oh my gosh.
Time and accountability. And those are the two areas for me that were just a stronghold. And
you can always make more money. You can never make more time.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, we all know how to make money. We all know how to hustle and how to market, but it's about really creating intentional decisions around how you operate your business. And those things were important to me, making time for, my team and growth and planning. And so it is a work in progress. And I definitely thank you for the awareness around, just how much that can evolve and grow and shift over time.
So any last bits of information that you want to share, any bits of advice, things that have helped you in your journey, for those spa owners, for those solos that are taking this step, right? Maybe they're in that place where you're like, it's that constant going through the learning thing. What bit of advice do you have for those individuals that are wanting to get to that next level, but are still working on the skill set needed to lead a team?
Yeah, there's a few things, right? We can work on a lot of things, but I think getting around people that really have the same goals and mindset as you, or maybe even somebody
like-minded
place that you want to be, right? Really tapping into finding out who did you use? Who did you talk to? Who is your coach? Who is your, who helped you develop your systems? Because if you don't know where to start, you're going to continue in the cycle of that habitual overwork, burnout, and team. I was there. So I know that it's a conscious decision. It's a conscious decision to say, I need help. And then you take action and you find those people that can help support you in that growth, in that transition of where you currently are and where you want to be. There's also awareness, right? You have to have the awareness of where your stumbling blocks are, where you could be hindering your own growth. And that could be in a mindset. It could be in a negative attitude, right? Sometimes we show up in our business and we're just like not happy. And so you really have to be in a good place in order to shift to the next level. We're never going to shift from a low vibration. I can promise you that. Never going to take huge leaps of faith when we are doubting ourselves. So it goes back to the healing piece. And I say healing because our hearts need healing, our souls need healing, and sometimes our physical bodies need healing and rest. And so you have to check in with yourself, and you really have to tap into, what is it that I need as a spa owner? Do I need a vacation? Do I need to cut back from 5 days to 3 days? And you don't worry about the how, you just fill into what you need. If that makes sense. Yeah.
It does 100%. And, I do that exercise with myself all the time. I'm like, this is what I want my schedule to look like. So I'm constantly time management, productivity. How can I be efficient as possible? Because my goal is I want to spend more time with my kids, with my family. Like I want to cook dinner. Yeah, I have all of these things that I want to do. And so, I was even just talking with my coach, who I hired because she has the lifestyle that I want, right?
That's what we do. Yes.
Yep. She works 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. And then on the summers, she only works 3 days a week. And I'm like, brilliant. I want that. How do I create that? And so much of it is just you block the time off on your calendar. And when you have that availability, it's like you are forced to focus on what has to be done today and what is going to create the greatest impact in my business. And I can tell you 2 of the most productive seasons of business for me, 2 of the most productive, biggest growths in my company was when I was pregnant, because there was a deadline, like this baby is coming out.
Me too. That's when I opened school.
Really?
Pregnant with Madison.
You're like, okay, baby coming. There's a deadline.
Energetically, there's this internal drive, right? You don't know where it comes from, but it just comes. And not saying you have to get pregnant to move to the next level.
No,
it helps.
It's good. I will also say though, like the challenges, or I don't want to say challenges because I love my kids so much and they're very intentional human beings, but the things that you deal with as a parent and running a business, it's certainly easier to have an already established business than to start a business when you have kids. But if you have an already established business and then you get pregnant, it's a heck of a lot easier to take a maternity than it is to get a business off the ground. You can do it. You can do whatever you want, whatever you put your mind to. But yeah, there was just that. And especially with Luca, my son, who was born in the beginning of April, 2020. So it was like every spa in the country was shut down. We were on full lockdown. I was like, all right, guys, I know it's COVID, but I'm going on maternity, and everything was okay.
It always ends up okay.
Yep.
And that is what I want to say to the spa owners that are feeling hopeless, or maybe they're feeling stuck, right? It always works out.
It works out exactly as it's supposed to.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Just trust that you are being guided and you are being led, and that, you're going to make the decisions that serve you best, as long as you're in alignment and you still love what you do, right? And you're in that space of gratitude, and you're in that space of love and passion for your business. It will never steer you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't there, then that's a deeper, you got to take a deeper dive into what that next, path looks like for you. But if you're there and you're in hustle mode and you just don't know where to turn, start with just tapping into that place of feeling worthy enough to make a decision that's going to serve you best, right? Because I think a lot of us, we forget the worthiness piece. And that's a big piece in all of this. We have to feel deserving of this beauty business. We have to feel deserving to scale back, or to earn more, or to hire a team, or to have a dream team, right? We have to feel it before it can show up for us in our physical reality. So I'm a big manifesting, kind of, that's just something that I love to work on, is the piece of just emotions. And so I encourage all those spa owners out there to not give up, to stay focused and committed to your goals and your dreams, and just know that it's not an overnight process. I mean, I'm a 15-year work in project, right? And I'm still evolving with my business. I'm still learning processes and how to do things better. But it takes surrounding yourself with the right people and making conscious decisions to take action, and really feeling worthy and deserving of having it all.
That's so good. Yeah. So good.
I hope that helps.
It does. Okay. So where can people find you, follow you, stay in touch with you?
Oh, yes, I would love that. I love connecting with industry professionals. I love estheticians. So I have a couple different businesses that you guys can follow me at. We have Beautiful You Skincare Academy on Instagram. We also have Beautiful You Skincare Studio, my spa that I've kind of shared that journey with you. That is where you can learn more about my team and learn more about kind of just what we're doing as a team. And something that I recently started when the shutdown happened was I created a private Facebook group called Uncommon Beauty. And this is really a group for women to just get positive, mindset, quotes, affirmations. We do card readings, daily affirmations. We do energetic healing treatments in that little private group. So if that resonates with you, I would love for you to join Uncommon Beauty Facebook group and come join me and just come have some fun with me. And really, if you need to escape, into a positive group, that would be one that I would highly recommend.
Awesome. Well, I know a lot of people are very, very interested in the world of the woo. So we'll be sure to link all that up for anyone that wants to stay in touch. We'll link it up below this video. And of course, if you want to keep the conversation going, please head on over to the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group. And we would love to continue the conversation. And we'll catch you in the next episode.